At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define and describe manure. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define and describe manure. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define and describe manure.
Hello guys, Sam here from You Don't Fool Me Twice Productions. Just a short one, and I follow it up with a video about Greta Thunberg. You see, I told my brother, bro, listen, Dadosh. First of all, my brother is a child of Matrix. He have all the Netflix and Amazon Prime. He have all those channels, and he is really brainwashed. He's a musician, and somewhere and some on some level, I feel guilty because I was the one who was the child of Matrix, and he have followed uh, my steps in many aspects. So I feel some responsibility for that, and I really never try to wake someone up. I never discuss this kind of subjects with people. I mean, time back in past, I had an urge to point on the sky when I passed people and say, you see the sky? Can you see that it's spraying on us? And I try to be uh, some soft and don't like, oh, they are killing us. I just said, can you just can you imagine what it can be? I asked a simple question, and I had that urge to wake people up. Right now I don't have it, and I have understood it that doing that is a new kind of chasing. Try to chase something. So and nevertheless, the result, the consequences of having this kind of discussion with your friends, family, siblings, and the consequences is that you make yourself enemies and bad relations. So it's why take it up? Why discuss it? We know it, and and one more thing is that I feel this urge to wake my brother up. I don't have this kind of conversation with anyone else beside people in our own community though. But every time I mention something, he gets so mad and so irritated. You cannot communicate with the guy, and he's not a rare case. All of the so-called sleepers, when you communicate with them, when you talk about flat earth, when you talk about um rewritten history, when you talk about that so much missing, almost 1,000 years missing in our history, when you talk about those stuff, or that mainstream media fake stuff, NASA do this and that, they get really angry and they just want to kill you. They scream and they get mad. So no, that's not any good idea. But for a couple of days ago, I had a conversation with my brother, and I said to him, Darosh, look, did you know that the air that we breathe, the air around us, contain up to 80%, almost 80% nitrogen, and only 20% oxygen. And the historians say, and I really don't believe in mainstream science. I don't know where I can draw the line. I mean, I don't believe in their astrology, absolutely not. Their history, absolutely not. How they date stuff, like uh, they see the pyramids and then they find a petrified fork. I don't know, a wooden petrified fork close to the pyramid, and they date the fork, and whatever the fork have for date, they apply it to the pyramid. So they find something, whatever, and they use a C14 test. And not only that, they use the fork to test the date of pyramid. The dating method itself is so wrong. I mean, they have tested living penguins and the result being 2,000 years old, and they have tested this C14 method in several different ways, and every time when the test comes back, it's like outrageous. I mean, they have tested, as I said, a living penguin. It says it's 2,500 years old. A couple 100-year-old shell from shellfish. It says that it's just a couple of years. So it's wrong. But when they apply it to test a fossil or a skeleton, and whatever result they get back, that's correct. Method they use to date that artifact is wrong in the beginning. So I think I don't know if I make myself clear, but anyway, so I told my brother, did you know that the air have only 20% oxygen? And I mean, prehistoric, it was, they say, as I was about to say, that I don't know how much we can trust them, but they say that in the ice they have found in places they're like prehistoric ice have air bubbles, and when they test those air bubbles, the oxygen rate is up about 30, 35, 40%. And imagine if you can breathe with 40% more oxygen. The air is so much lighter. And imagine if air is lighter, then you can. I mean, this thing about gravity, I don't know how much we can trust it, that there is a force who pulling down everything. And the force is so intelligent, so he knows that an elephant weighs 1,000 kilos, so it uses a special kind of force to pull down that elephant. And he knows that a car weighs 1,200 kilograms, so it applies another kind of force to pull down the car. And he knows that I'm weighing 70 kilograms, so it uses another kind of force to pull me down. So that magical Newtonian and Einsteinian gravity, if we consider that it's fake, then with more oxygen in the air, when air is lighter, then it's easier to walk, it's easier to run, and it's almost that you can feel that you elevating, not with 30% of course, but I just make my point. And not only the physical fact that you can move faster and run faster and you never get tired with 30-40% oxygen in the air, but also the feeling you get. It open up your lungs. Every time blood goes to your lungs for bringing oxygen and bringing nutrients, it gets a kick. It you get a kind of high. So I say to my brother, did you know that? And did you know that 70, 79, 80% is nitrogen, 20% is oxygen, and only 1% is other gases? And when I say other gases, we have argon, which is 0.9%, and 0.17% other gases, and carbon dioxide, who they say that will kill us and who will uh, burn down the earth, and it will melt down the earth and preventing the sun's heat to leave the earth's surface, blah blah. That gas, who are almost on its way to killing us, and in 12 years within 12 years have that we have a global disaster. That gas is containing 0.03% of our atmosphere. So how in hell can 0.03 affect, how can affect our world? How can we as a human being affect 0.03? And not only that, the earth, the ecosystem on earth have its own way to function. It doesn't need us. We doesn't need to be worried. I mean, you have common sense. You don't fuck around. You don't throw plastic and garbage and trash in the nature. You pick up after yourself. You keep everything. You keep your surrounding clean. You don't poison waters. You don't poison the air. All those things are common sense that we should do, but have nothing to do with carbon dioxide. The market they have built, you can buy now, you can buy and sell rights as a company. If you For example, every company are allowed to let out 1000 ton. Let's just play with our thoughts, okay? Every company is allowed to let out 1000 ton. A company who are producing say fruits, okay, they don't they only let out 500 kilogram, while a company who producing something with plastic, they let out 1500 ton per year. So they are 500 more than they are allowed. What they do, that they can buy those 500 from the fruit company who just let out 500. You see? So the fruit company, he's allowed to let out 1000, but he just let out 500, and now he have 500 over. Those 500 the plastic producer can buy because he lets out 1500 and he's 500 short. And they have made a market out of this. And they have made companies, and they have made organizations, and they have built a thing around this crazy thing, which is 0.03. And I'm not finished. Listen, guys, the earth is a machine, a biologic machine. Through volcanoes, underground sources, and through plankton, the earth produce and have the carbon dioxide, the 0.03 carbon dioxide under control. When we have when the carbon dioxide is low, the volcano, they spread out just carbon, and we have wildfires. When and it raises up the carbon dioxide in the air. When it's too high, we have kind of plankton who grow in ocean, and who, I don't know how to explain it, but they suck to themselves, they suck up all carbon dioxide, and then they go to the bottom of the ocean and back into the volcanoes, and out again as carbon dioxide when it's needed. Okay, and if you put together everything we human beings let out, all our factories, all our cars, or our airplanes, all cows who are shitting methane, if you put everything in the whole world together, the Earth let out 97% carbon dioxide. The human being let out 3%. So 97% of the carbon in the air, the Earth does it. So imagine how much we need to pollute the world to even come close to this 97%. Nevertheless, pass and go beyond and produce so much that it will start to melt stuff in Antarctica and North Pole, and even if those places exist. So, dear brother, I asked him, how can you support someone like Greta Thunberg? And he said, where have you heard that? And I didn't want to scare him away, so I referred him to the Bible of the Matrix, the Bible that they worship, Wikipedia. I linked him there, and I say, here, you got the link to Wikipedia. What do you say now? And he just told me, anyone can write anything on Wikipedia. And there we end the discussion.